Hey guys, how's it going? This is Jed. I'm here to do my video for the overview of my Magstrike Longrifle with the Rapidfire 20 integration. I'm going to go over the functions of this rifle as well as open it up and give you guys a look at the interior. Just in case you haven't seen the previous video, I just want to show you real quick how it actually looks when firing. This is hooked up to my air tank system right now. So both the Magstrike and the Rapidfire 20 are fed off of this. We're going to go ahead and feed the air pressure to it. I'm running at about 50 psi. Now I'm going to turn it off right now because I actually left the Rapidfire 20 tank intact. So when this is fed off the air pressure, this will actually fill up the tank, and actually both guns can be fired off of this tank. So I have a bit of flexibility and options where I could feed the tank or even hook up a pump system to this later on if I want to, and be able to fire this gun without an external air source. To later adapt to that, I'm going to need to put in a one-way valve, which I'll show you guys the internals in a bit. So that way I can feed in an air source, but if this is not plugged in, air doesn't just leak out of here, because if I just unplug this, the tank will empty out. But just to give you a quick shot of the firing, this trigger is actually, I'll show you in a minute, there is actually a Magstrike trigger in here, but it uses the long shot trigger here. So actually right now it's going off the internal tank. So this trigger triggers the Magstrike, and then turn the air back on, fill it up again. This trigger is still stock for the Rapidfire 20. Now the switch is still intact as well too. So I can switch it to single fire if I want, or go back to full auto. So all in all, I'm very happy with how the system actually came out. It all functions beautifully. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up so you can see how it actually looks inside here. Now when I did do my epoxy job, I did do it so that everything can still be opened up. There's a split right in all the spots, and there's nothing permanent as far as being able to open it up. So this is going to take a minute. If you're watching, you can go ahead and skip ahead. I'll put a time mark, so if you don't want to watch all the unscrewing, you don't have to. But I'm just going to go ahead and open this up. There's our long shot stock. First, these pieces come off. My drill bit's just not long enough for this, so I've got to use my screwdriver. Go ahead and take off the outer shell for the Rapidfire. Some really long screws in here. Little tip for working on the Rapidfire 20, when you take this part off, the switch on the other side is held in by a spring, so be careful you don't lose that. I'm talking about this spring right here. Put that aside now. Alright, so there's the outer stock pieces. Now I'm going to go ahead and just start unscrewing. Lots of screws on this one. tip as well too, if you're using a screwdriver or a drill with an adjustable piece, you don't want to crank it up all the way to the highest it can do. You actually want to do it just about at the mark where it just has enough torque to unscrew the screw, but not enough to strip it. You might have to manually unscrew that one here. But if it's too strong, it'll just go too fast for the amount of strength you need to overcome the screw. And you can strip it out. So just a little tip there as well too. This screw is in there pretty good because it's holding down the firing mechanism here. Alright, and I'm going to lose a bunch of screws here, but it's okay. I'm on a floor where I'm not going to lose them. Flip this guy over and just do the Magstrike screws now. Alright, and looks like I missed just one screw. These screws right here are pretty long. There we go. Alright, so now if you've skipped ahead or just been watching, so I've unscrewed it, and as you can see with my epoxy job, it just comes right off. And now here are the internals. Just put this where it won't break it. Alright, so as you can see, all in all, it's actually very simple on the inside. You can see the Rapidfire 20 is pretty stock. I've just cut it off cleanly right here, and it just lays flat right here. I've cut this part of the long shot so it fits in very nicely. It's very flush, and it attaches right over here. So normally your pump would be right here. So what I've done is I've cut that. What I did is I unscrewed this and ran a new longer hose directly off the tank. I have another tutorial. I'll put a link here if you want to know how to run a new line. It's very, very easy. But I ran a new line from up to here. So as you can see, my feed comes in from here, and going underneath the trigger right here, that feeds over here into this T right here, and these are all push to connect. So this feeds into here, and then from there it feeds both of these. Right here, this is a Magstrike trigger, and I have that zip tied in there initially and then epoxied it in place. And you can see this trigger, I've cut that this long arm that normally triggers the normal long shot. It just takes the end of this right here. So it's a bit stiffer of a trigger, but it does work. This is solidly in place. So the Rapidfire 20 is fed from here, and then this feeds right into the trigger for the firing mechanism for the Magstrike. And this little piece right here, this is actually from a Hornet. That optional piece that is on the top of the Hornet, if you were to attach it to a Titan, there's a one-way valve in there. So what I actually did is I cut off the orange end of that and plugged it. Since it's a one-way valve, nothing would leak out anyways, but I plugged it and epoxied it here just for stability. So I used this as kind of like to reuse a piece for a T connector right here, and that goes into the trigger. So when I plug this in, the reason the tank can also feed this is because this is all open. So this tank, when this is pressurized, is both actually feeding the Rapidfire 20 and this trigger right here. So the only modification I would need to do if I wanted to be able to put a pump in or make it so I could keep this unplugged but still use it, is I would just need some kind of one-way valve here so air can feed in but not come back out, because this is an open end for plugging into a tank. And then instead of having a T connection, I might have like a four-way connection, perhaps coming up through here or somewhere over here, and I could put my pump right on top there. So all in all, I'm very happy with how this came out. It came out very clean. It works beautifully. The only little modification I got to make is take the little release valve off the end of the tank. So then that way, when this tank gets pumped up, it doesn't just continuously leak all the air. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment. Thanks for watching.